painting about my cultural identity crisis on a piece of scrap wood, and I am about to share my thoughts and a few stories behind it. The date was September 24th, 2003, when my family and I landed in the United States for the very first time to pursue the American dream. You know, white picket fence and all of that stuff. 2 years later, my brother was born. And after living there for 10 years, and when I was the age of 13, we moved back here in India. There are people who I talk to about culture identity and conflicted emotions who wrinkle their noses and tilt their heads and just go, "Oh, but you're Indian. You were born here. What else is there to it? Why are you overcomplicating it? Oh, great, you want another sob story. Yep, you're victimizing yourself." It's very important to know who you are, and a big part of that is a person's culture. Feeling too brown for the US and too white for India was definitely a weird experience, and it did put a damper on my self-confidence progress. I'll tell you a story or two just to share my experience about this. I'd bring Indian food to lunch there as an elementary school kid. This was first grade. And as soon as I'd open my tiffin box, which had Indian food in it, the kids would look repulsed. Some would even plug their noses or whisper about it. "Ew, what is that slime? Ugh, the smell is definitely making me want to puke. Go sit somewhere else. Your food stinks." Suddenly, the beautiful Indian food that was made by my beautiful Indian mother was garbage, waste, not enough for me to fit in. I know it looked different than what they ate, but it definitely made me feel alienated. I'd go home and cry to my mom about this, and eventually she gave into it and started making me food that was not Indian. Now, I know these were just kids, but kids learn from somewhere. It could be their parents, school environment, wherever it is. Now, I'm not saying I was this perfect angel, because there were kids of other cultures from other countries, and I was definitely taught to alienate them along with the other kids. So it was basically everybody alienating each other and making each other feel awful about their origins, and it was child hell. The adults were not any better. I heard some weird-ass shit from them. "I don't want my child playing with you too much because you're spreading your influence onto her. Could you ask your mom not to make Indian food? My wife thinks it looks gross. Thanks." "Oh, you're from India? I love Slumdog Millionaire." That last one was more funny. My brother got lost at the mall once, and this nice woman was striking up conversation with me to comfort me and distract me. Some people did not make me feel very welcome here. But there were some people who did, very much so. And there were some people who tried. And then we eventually find ourselves moving back to our country of origin, India. I mean, initially, I started feeling like this incredibly whitewashed tourist cousin who had no idea what was going on and how to talk to people or behave or do anything. Culture shock. What? From my own culture? Living someplace is very different from vacationing there. Something that I wasn't prepared for was the fact that people saw women who wore clothes that showed some skin as vulgar. It was definitely frowned upon, especially in my family. So when we had guests over and my parents told me to go and change into some joggers or leggings from shorts, I was confused. I mean, can you imagine? Your uncle's here and he's sitting outside. Just in case he's perverted and pedophilic, go change. Even though it is mind-numbingly bloody hot. So apparently people find it fascinating that women have legs. So there's objectification and sexualization of my body even though I'm only 13. Yay. Never mind, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I even found my loyalty to the country as well as my personality being questioned. What? You don't respect this country? Is your accent fake or are you from Europe or something? Nah, this girl will go running back to the West once she gets her first chance. Yep, her accent is definitely fake. She's faking it for clout. You from London or something? I eventually found myself faking an Indian accent around certain people so that they wouldn't cringe at my American accent. Yay, people pleasing. I could go on and on. I mean, it's a given. There's gonna be people who are mean, there's gonna be people who are nice, there's gonna be people who are in between. In both of the countries I lived in, I felt like I stood out probably like any other person who came from where I came from. In one country I had to be like this, in another country I had to be like this. It's exhausting putting up a different personality just to suit other people around you. Putting on a persona to their liking. In the midst of pleasing other people and bowing down to the biological need to be accepted in a group or a society, you lose yourself. You tend to forget what you like and who you are. And when you forget who you are and what you like and what you want, you are going to suffer, my friend. You'll start saying yes when you want to say no. And you'll smile and stay quiet when you shouldn't have to. And when you look back, you'll realize that none of the decisions you made were really your own. Despite knowing that, you'll still hate yourself even more for that. But you shouldn't. Learning to cope and survive and adapt to a place is no easy feat. And as soon as we acknowledge that, the better we feel about ourselves. I mean, it's never too late to get to know yourself, and as that is indeed the first step of loving yourself, I'd say that's very important. So yeah, am I still in a crisis over my cultural identity? A little bit, yeah, but it's much better than where it was before. I mean, I am only 22, and saying that I have it all figured out would be a very big lie. So I guess our only option is to learn to keep wading through the chaos, just to find ourselves.